That was Studuzo Kambile. Give him a round of applause. Studuzo, repeat after me. Studuzo. Studuzo. Studuzo.
Welcome everybody. It's a pleasure to have all of you here. Should I say Sanibonani? Oh, okay, Sonia Kuluma. Okay, it's a very, very, very great pleasure to be here tonight. It's after 6, I believe. We're sorry to be a little bit late, but we're going to get going now. And of course, we have some very special guests. We have Congressman Charles Rangel, the legend right here. Please give it up for the man. And down here we have Dr. Boji Jordan, one of the greatest men that's ever lived. He went to school with Baba Nelson Mandela. There, right there. Mamsiki Kabane Langford as well, all the way from South Africa. She's here and she's going to celebrate with us. Please bring them here. Not forgetting Bob Zaza, all the way from South Africa, Mzansi, in the Eastern Cape. Please give them a hand. And Mom Molly, everybody else that's here, we welcome you all, and we are about to start now. So please give yourselves a big round of an applause. Woo!
And now I'll make it easy for you. I'm Senator Bill Perkins. And we're honored that you are here. You are honored guests. And we're also joined by some others that you will get a chance to meet and hear from as the program goes forward. But we are happy to be able to celebrate Mandela Day tribute. We want to bring forward some entertainment, some speakers, some very important messages that we think are appropriate for us. As we celebrate, we also commit ourselves to the vision and to the work that Mandela started, maybe in South Africa, but it also applies here in Harlem and in the United States. And so, without further ado, I want to introduce someone who will be our MC for this evening, Yoliswa Kosele of Imbizo.
Hello, good evening. Thank you. Hello, I'm Yoliswa Kosele. I'll be here speaking on behalf of Imbizo Host Committee and the South African community at large. So today we're gathered here because it's International Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela Day. And on this day, the mission is to continue his legacy of service, his legacy of standing for what's just and for what's right. The 67 minutes that's usually attributed to Nelson Mandela Day is meant to be 67 minutes where we all give our time to some kind of public service, which symbolizes the 67 years Nelson Mandela gave to the struggle for liberation in South Africa. So today we have a great program here for you. We're right here in Harlem, in the center of Harlem. As you all may know, shortly after his release, Utadja came right here and filled the streets of Harlem with supporters from the African American community and America. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you guys to Tuelo Mena and Vulieswa Boi, who are going to be singing the South African anthem.
kransen vergeet, sounds the call to come together, and united we shall stand. Let us live and strive for freedom in South Africa, our land.
Thank you, Yulisi. Well, we are going to have a slight change in the program due to scheduling. And I'm going to ask Senator Perkins to come and introduce our next guest. Senator Perkins, please introduce the next guest.
So there's a young firebrand amongst us today. Sometimes you see him in the neighborhood. He's been around for a little bit. He's a new character in the neighborhood. He hasn't been around here that long. But some of us know him as our Congressman, Charles Rangel. Please give him a round of applause. He comes to share with us some remarks and some greetings in the name of Nelson Mandela.
Thank you, Senator Codella, and all of those that made this afternoon possible. Sometimes when we see the racism that exists in this country and a handful of people that really think that they won the Civil War, you get despondent. But when you think of people like Nelson Mandela and the struggle that he went through, and the fact that it's only been several hundred years that we were brought here not as human beings, but as chattels. And so all over this country and all over the world, we're celebrating Nelson's birthday. And I leave here, Senator, to go to Riverside, where they're having a concert for Nelson. The United Nations has had one. His grandson is down there at 42nd Street. And I hope that all of you, individually, can just take a deep breath and a sense of pride as to how God has allowed us to get this far. Nelson Mandela is just no ordinary human being. God had to think especially hard as to how to put the qualities of courage, friendship, loyalness, in order for him not to be a leader of South Africa or the countries in South Africa, but a symbol for the whole world to see what decency and courage can do when you have the commitment. When I was a kid, raised on Lenox Avenue, the worst thing you could call somebody was not the words we hear today, but if you called someone an African, it meant that you were ready to fight because you saw how Tarzan treated those people in Africa. But then came the United Nations. I can't convince you young people how excited we were in talking among each other to see these tall, majestic men with robes of splendor, speaking in English and in French and in their native tongue. And I said, how come nobody told us that we had people that looked like us, that spoke like that were not community leaders, not continental leaders, but world leaders down there coming to the United Nations. And when Bill had problems with the African name, as we all would have had, and he said the name Bill Perkins will be much easier. To my African friends, any name would be much easier because we haven't the slightest idea as to what part of Africa we came from, what songs we should be proud of, what cultures there were, what was our history, who were we, who did we think we would be, as they took our history and shredded it and allowed us to believe as they took the land in Africa that Jesus was going to save, so they gave them the Bible and they took the land. And when we take a look today and see how the concentration that went to destroy this continent, how just Europeans could take a look at the continent and just take, you think redistricting is bad, Bill. What they did was took every tribe and cut them and divide them, where we try to have solidarity in Albany, and they take the languages and the culture and they divide them and then switch it there. And then each European country, just like you're shooting dice, picks a country that belongs to them. And then after all of that, sometimes I thought, when I get to heaven and get my 5 minutes with God, I'm going to ask, just what the hell did black folks do to tee you off so much? Because wherever I go, we talk about poverty and pain. And when he finally sees me, and I think it's going to be she, but I don't want to make an issue now, I feel they got to say, just what the heck are you coming up here for? Didn't you read the Bible? Didn't you read anything about me? Didn't you know when I had a thought of making people that look like you, I took every color that we had, white, bronze, gold, brown, black, and I made your people with the most beautiful things that I had to work with. And then what was left, I ran out of colors. What the hell? But then I had to find a place. I think they call it the Garden of Eden. What other place in the world? Gigantic mountains, waterfalls, trees, bushes, birds, animals, all of the beautiful things you could think of, including gold and minerals, were in Africa. And God just wondered, what more could we ask for? How did we lose it all? But he would say to me that he recognized we all make mistakes, but Africa is coming back. He reminded me how when I was in the Congress and we were debating how we were to treat South Africa, one of the proudest moments in my life was to pass the Wrangel Amendment, which told every multinational American company that was doing business in South Africa that if they didn't stop paying taxes there and spent that tax here, they'd have to get out. Nelson Mandela called it the bloody Wrangel Amendment. He told me while I was there to get a food taster because they may smile, but they don't like me. And then, just last week, I had the opportunity to talk with 40 president representatives. They're coming to the United States Congress on the 4th and 5th and 6th of August. I will be at the White House to greet with them at a dinner. 40 African presidents from 40 African nations coming here not to sing songs or to do dances, but to do trade with the United States of America. How proud we all have to feel to see that that progress has taken place. But you know, it wasn't the colored folks, the Negroes, or the African Americans that made this possible. It was that when God concluded that if we needed a little help, he will think about something creative and send to us that would let the whole world know that color is not going to be separated from genius and courage. That he will send us Nelson Mandela, a man that would be prepared to go to jail as Christ died on the cross in order to show that all people are created equal. That he will take the individual pains and the rocks from self and his family, but he will continue to tell the white man that this land was his land and is be willing to share it in a way that you don't expect any human being to understand after 27 years of imprisonment. And so all of us, no matter what they allow us to call ourselves, no matter where we can't guess where we came from, no matter what names we have assumed, we know when God was thinking about brains and courage that he gave us a little bit, each one of us, a little bit of Nelson Mandela. In all of our genes, we have a little bit of this genius and this courageous man. And so when the senator comes and says that we should celebrate his birthday, he is really telling us to celebrate our birthday. Because for us as people of the world, we are just beginning to find out who we really are and how far we can really go. So thank you, Bill Perkins, thank you, Cordell, and thank everyone for coming out. And to you, Nelson, happy birthday, Nelson Mandela.
That's good. Hi, everybody. Hello, my name is Tanya Radzwa, and so I'm your sister from next door. I'm from Zimbabwe. Yes! So I'm here just to sing for you. I'm a singer. I just graduated. I got my degree in music, so maybe that qualifies me, I don't know. But I'm really excited. More importantly is I come from a line of freedom fighters. So my family, right, almost everyone in my family was in some way very much involved with our own liberation struggle for independence in Zimbabwe between 1965 and 1980. And so part of what I've done, as we were listening, a lot of our history was taken from us, and so now for our generation, the onus is upon us to go back and to rewrite our own history in our own words, on our own terms, because for so long we've been defined, right, as something other than who we really are. Kings, queens, princes, princesses, that's who we are. So I'm going to sing for you one of the revolutionary songs from Zimbabwe, which says, we obtained Zimbabwe through war, through blood. Zimbabwe takaiwana nehondo. I hope you enjoy. Where there is love, there is
Another hand for Tanya Razwa. That was beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. By the way, if you guys are taking photos or updating about how you're celebrating Mandela Day today, please use the hashtag Harlem Mandela Day. That's the hashtag we're using for this event. Hashtag Harlem Mandela Day, one word. Share with your friends who are missing out. Next up, we're gonna have remarks by Terrell Watson and Nikki Bolandi. Please give them a round of applause.
We are here today to not only commemorate Nelson Mandela and his achievements, but to pay tribute and to pay respects to him as an individual. What Nelson Mandela managed to accomplish did not only impact South Africans, but the entire human race, and that is truly extraordinary. Mandela delivers hope and inspiration to people all over the world to this day. Nelson Mandela once stated, "Everyone can rise above their circumstances and achieve success if they are dedicated to and passionate about what they do." Individuals of all cultures and backgrounds live by this statement and strive to contain this optimistic attitude. Even coming from the Middle East, I have grown up learning about Mandela's accomplishments and how his legacy still lives on. This example is not only a representation of how powerful his presence was, but how each of his actions had a long-term influence.
Nelson Mandela is a huge inspiration to all people all over the world. His way of thinking and persevering has changed a whole nation. To me, Nelson Mandela means hope. Living in a household where my grandmother is from Africa and she looks up to him so much. When she got news that he passed away, she was very upset. Nelson Mandela showed me that one day I can be powerful. One day I can change a great nation. Me being African American, he showed me that I could be more than just a statistic. He showed me that I should not take no for an answer and fight for what is right. Thank you.
Come on, everybody. I want you to give it up for our young people. Nikki Bolandi, she's all the way here from Dubai. And she's talking about Nelson Mandela. And Terrell Watson, come on, stand up, let them see you again. She's here from East Harlem. And these are young people that understand the importance of Nelson Mandela and out here celebrating with us today. So thank you.
That was wonderful. Next up, we're going to have remarks by Natalie Holtman. Give Natalie a nice round of applause, please.
Dr. Bajana V. Jordan is a former classmate of Nelson Mandela's. Though Dr. Jordan was forced to endure horrific treatment, he managed to stay strong and not let anyone or anything bring him down. In 1953, the racist government in South Africa passed the Bantu Education Act, which mandated that blacks only be taught skills that would facilitate them in being submissive towards whites and working for them. This law officially came into effect in 1954. However, Dr. Jordan, along with 8 other primary and higher education teachers, refused to sign this contract and become a part of the Education for Slavery. This resulted in him being fired from his job towards the end of 1955. But Dr. Jordan did not let this stop him. He continued his journey to the United States in 1965. Here, Dr. Jordan continued his fight towards a new and free South Africa. He is currently retired and living in Albany, New York. The ongoing passion and courage demonstrated by Dr. Jordan is something that everyone can learn from. No matter how hard things may get, you just have to keep pushing on and never giving up, because it will get better, and Dr. Jordan's extraordinary story is an example of this. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Bajana V. Jordan.
I'm going to need a big round of applause for our struggle veteran. This is a veteran, Dr. Bojana Boji Jordan.
compatriots and friends, we are here to celebrate the birthday of one of the greatest men that ever lived. A few quotes about Madiba. Madiba, the politician. Madiba, humanitarian. And one of the architects of Ubuntu the world over. Quote, his life was gentle, and the elements so well mixed in him that nature might stand up and say to the world, this was a man. He was made of the best that mankind has ever had. In the words of the poet, what a piece of work is man, how noble in reason, how infinite in faculties, in form and movement, how express and admirable in action, how like an angel, in apprehension, how like a god, the beauty of the world, the paragon of animals. He never lived for himself, but for others, the nation and mankind. Witness how he left the most prosperous and thriving law office to lead the struggle in the early 60s. Now, the question we should ask ourselves about the legacy of these great past leaders is who we are as South Africans, whence, whither, and wherefore. We are the descendants of Bambata, of Makana, of Mushwesh, of Sikukuni, of Langalibalele, and others. They gave birth and inspired our leaders like Mandela, Steve Biko, and many others who helped overthrow the apartheid system. Those were men and women who had a vision of where they wanted to take their people and their country. It was not easy. It was tough. It was tough. But against the greatest odds, they never lost faith. They held the torch aloft and ablaze, for they had a mission to accomplish, to build a democracy based on the philosophy of Ubuntu, which is shaped by the various social factors, including the cultural norms and beliefs, history, folklore, and mythology that are part and parcel of reality under which the individuals are brought under. In the case of South Africans, the relationships are powerfully captured. These relationships are powerfully captured in the concept of Ubuntu, which pervasively undergirds African thinking. Ubuntu is usually invoked as a barometer for right or wrong. It provides a moral compass for guiding behavior. What is Ubuntu, for which the Mandelas fought? It is humaneness, pervasive spirit of caring and community, harmony, hospitality, and brotherhood, and responsiveness that individuals and groups display for one another. Ubuntu is the foundation for the basic values that manifest themselves in the way African people think and behave towards each other and everyone else they encounter. We few, we happy few, we band of brothers and sisters stand here today enjoying the fruits earned by our past leaders and partly by ourselves, and continue to pledge ourselves to continue that struggle today and forever, lest we forget freedom is only a concept. You cannot eat it, you cannot wear it, or use it as a shelter. The three fundamental pillars of freedoms are food, shelter, and clothing. Do our people have these necessities of life today, after 20 years of freedom? If not, why not? Aluja continua. Struggle continues. The struggle for freedom was a positive reaction to the poet's dictum, to be or not to be. That is the question. Whether it is nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing end to die, to sleep, so that our leaders should not have died, in vain and feel betrayed. Let me quote the poet Mkhaya. Godukani ningala uzakuthengiswa ngani ngoyihlo. Godukani ningala eyona nkosi mna ndithi fi nini.
Dr. Bajana V. Jordan, distinguished educator and civil and human rights activist. Whereas our state, country, and world are only as great as those individuals who perform exemplary public service on behalf of our interconnected communities, whether through unique achievement in professional, civic, or other selfless endeavors, or simply through a lifetime of distinguished citizenship. And whereas it is the sense of this legislative body to honor Dr. Bajana V. Jordan, distinguished educator and civil and human rights activist, on the occasion of our second annual Nelson Mandela Day celebration and tribute. And whereas Dr. Bajana V. Jordan is a South African citizen who graduated from Fort Hare University with a BA in education over 60 years ago, he subsequently became an English and history teacher at the high school level in Cape Province. And whereas Dr. Bajana V. Jordan is a South African citizen who displayed unstinting courage and conviction by protesting the racist, segregationist, and offensive Bantu Education Act of 1953, which sought to relegate blacks to permanent second-class subservient citizens. Dr. Jordan refused to be a part of this system and was unceremoniously fired from his teaching job in 1955. And whereas Dr. Bajana V. Jordan became immersed in the movement to free South Africa from the shackles of apartheid, to this end he studied law at the University of Cape Town and was admitted as a lawyer in 1961. Due to the fact that he was a permanent target of the South African Gestapo police, he was forced into exile, spending time teaching in Botswana and Zambia until he emigrated to the United States in 1965. And whereas Dr. Bajana V. Jordan carried the flag of struggle while he pursued a Master's of Education degree at the University of Rochester, after conference of his degree, he concentrated his manifest energies on the divestment movement, urging large American companies to cease their trade with South Africa. And whereas Dr. Bajana V. Jordan subsequently worked with South African liberation movements at the United Nations, petitioning for complete isolation of South Africa and disbarment from the community of nations,
Furthermore, in 1986, he was appointed as a representative diplomat in West Africa, where he continued the noble quest to shatter apartheid forever. And whereas Dr. Bajana V. Jordan celebrated the release of Nelson Mandela in 1990 as the culmination of nearly 50 years of his life's work, fighting for freedom, equal rights, and simple and inviolable humanity. Subsequently, Dr. Jordan returned to the United States in 1990, completed his doctorate in humanities, and taught at the State University of New York at Albany until 1995.
Joining South Africans in the world this day in celebration of a wonderful, wonderful man, Nelson Mandela. The song is by Miriam Makeba. It's called A Luta Continua. You may join me. just a little bit about my town. The superstitious people of my town, perhaps, or not. Yeah. Superstition fills this little town we never trust. The magic wand, but we all go to see the show. At the end of the show stands a child singing soulfully melodies that call my name, Duelo, Duelo, and that's my name, Duelo, Duelo, Duelo. And then she said, come as you want, you defeated, you lonely, you're broken, come as you are. Come as you want, you mistreated, you mourning, you longing, yeah, come as you are. Hey, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, oh, ah, oh. Oh, yeah, oh, ah, oh. Yeah, yeah, oh. Yeah, yeah, oh, yeah, yeah,
Wasn't that beautiful? Duelo!
Yes, sir.
Whoa! Now that's South Africa for you. Next, I would like to have the honor to introduce Ntigi Makabane Langford, who is, I feel awkward even saying her name that way because she's like a grandmother, so I'm going to say Ukulu Ntigi Makabane Langford to give some remarks here this evening. Wazaku. Round of applause, please.
I will be very brief and say that today, as we celebrate the birthday, as we celebrate the life of Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, I would like to explain something here, that his name is Rolihlahla Mandela. But when he went to school, because we were under the British education at the time, when on that first day that he went to school, his teacher told him that your new name is Nelson. So Nelson was shocked. He tells a story that he was shocked. But then this is very common. And I think this planted those roots in him of wanting to fight back, because the school teacher has no business changing your name from Rolihlahla to Nelson. It was the same thing with me. My name is Nseki, but when I went to class, the teacher said, you are Eunice. And I said, no, I'm not Eunice. No. I went back home and my parents were determined to fight. No, they say, this is Nseki, she is not Eunice. That kind of thing, those are the things that inspired Madiba to see the unfairness of the system in South Africa. Today, I want to go a little bit, first of all, the reason that we address Madiba as Madiba and his other clan names is that it's a sign of respect. It's a sign of respect. People are addressed by their clan names, especially these figures like Nelson Mandela and the presidents. They are addressed by their clan names. So Mandela has several of those, and you are going to hear those names. I just want to say to you that we are better off for having fallen under the magnetism of this great warrior. Madiba's is a story of hope, a story of people around the world reaching out with their stories, with their arms, with their hearts, celebrating the birthday of an icon whose creative genius is awesomely expressed in a legacy that will live on like the lyric to a well-known song in minds and hearts. Those words of love are sung for you, Sopijo, sung from Kunu to the streets of Soweto, to the African continent, to the skyscrapers of Manhattan, and to the whole world. We salute a man of purpose, a builder of dreams, wanting to make it better than yesterday. Great minds have purposes, others have wishes. Madiba lived a life of purpose, living life as it should be lived, and taught us that purpose of life is to be useful, to be honorable. As a baby, when you were born, you cried and the world rejoiced. Live your life so that when you die, the world cries and you rejoice. Madiba lived on. He is rejoicing. City, Dibelife. We will hold our memory of you around our shoulders like a shawl, keeping us warm on cold days, keeping us safe when we are afraid. Like a bird singing in the rain, let grateful memories blossom and live forever. As we celebrate your life, Sopijo, we give you the gift of love from our hearts. Dancing, raising our voices, lifting our arms, hearts, and spirits to you, Madiba. We loved you then. We love you now. We hold you close to our heart of hearts and long into all our tomorrows. In line with our cultural tradition, siyagigizela bo sithi awu daliwonga wena faloluthe loko Madiba olwaphuma kwisizalo sikanosekeni udomo unyana kaganda usito umgonsisile uyemyem usalukubhenzelwa dibe elide sithi lala kokolo yo diba elide
and Sahavo. We have one more presentation, please bear with us. And that's going to be made by Taj Berrien.
Good evening, everyone. Honoring Nisiki Kabani Langford, distinguished social worker and civil and human rights activist. Whereas our state, country, and world are only as great as those individuals who perform exemplary public service on behalf of our interconnected communities, whether through unique achievement in professional, civic, or other selfless endeavors, or simply through a lifetime of distinguished citizenship. And whereas it is the sense of this legislative body to honor Nsiki Kabani Langford, distinguished social worker and civil and human rights activist, on the occasion of our second annual Nelson Mandela Day celebration in tribute. And whereas Nsiki Kabani Langford is a native of South Africa who spent many of her formative years organizing against the inhumane and racist South African apartheid regime. Subsequently, she immigrated to the United States in the 1970s and continued her noble Testing, okay. Whereas Nsiki Kabani Bamford instantaneously became an effective and clarion voice for the South African community in the United States. She worked closely with leadership groups in order to organize social and political events that informed everyone about the cataclysmic struggle within South Africa and served to foster essential unity within the South African community. Resolved that State Senator Bill Perkins recognized that in Nsiki Kabani Bamford, a distinguished social worker and civil and human rights activist, we have an individual worth of our highest respect and esteem. Thank you.
You know, everyone we honored here tonight were part of the struggle. You know, these were our heroes as well. These are people who fought together with Mandela for freedom.
Remarks, our honorable host, Senator Bill Perkins, and Cordell Clare will be giving us our closing remarks. Thank you everyone for coming out and keep the legacy going.
So I want to, I'm going to make a very, very long speech unless you cooperate. So first of all, I want to ask you to please stand up and give a round of applause, a standing ovation to all of our guests, all of our performers, to Nelson Mandela. You know, we are so honored and pleased to every year be able to celebrate this way. Every year it gets bigger and better. Nelson Mandela is someone that reminds us, and I will conclude with this, that the road to freedom is not a sprint, it's a marathon. The road to freedom is not a sprint, it is a marathon. Remember that. He served many, many years for us to be here today. He ran the marathon that enabled this country to be free and for us to be here to celebrate his contribution to humanity. Thank you so much.
These young people are from our community and other parts of the world. And they worked very hard on this program that came to you this afternoon. And I just want to recognize them for that, because we have to support our young people when they do something positive.